This is the Today with Tally podcast. And welcome back, folks. We have a big show in store for you today. Look, we sit down with two combat veterans, one Tyler Southern, a U.S. Marine, and also the first triple amputee to ever survive combat injuries in Afghanistan. And his now business partner, Lance Price, a Devil Doc, U.S. Naval Corpsman, folks. That's right. Two combat veterans that met about 4 years ago and are now business partners, still freaking here. Clothing and merchandise. These guys are in the fight every single day, and they are helping everybody that they can within the veteran community when it comes to mental health, resilience, perseverance, dedication, determination, and living the best life that you can live. I've got both of these guys, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these guys in individually. I think it's going to be a lot better for the show today to really take a deep dive into each one of these individuals, as they both have different stories to tell. And we'll go kind of back and forth here. And with that, I want to bring in Lance Price first. How are you, sir?
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the amazing introduction. Appreciate it.
I'm just running off here, just blabbing away. But look, man, I sincerely appreciate you guys coming on the show. I think you guys have a lot to offer this audience today. Look, you spent 18 years in the Navy, and look, you're a Devil Doc. I mean, you're basically a Marine. I
just chose to carry that extra pack a little bit heavier, because I'm that badass. No, not really. But
I've had a lot of Devil Docs on, and I tell you what, the stories that I hear from those guys, absolutely incredible. I mean, they're doing it all. They've got a rifle and they've got the pack, and they are seeing trauma after trauma after trauma. And, the stuff that you see with your eyes, 99.9% of the population, of the world's population, will never see what you saw, probably in 10 different lifetimes. So I know you carry a lot of weight around with you. And look, you've gone through some of your own tough times. And please share a little bit of your service and,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the reasons why I chose to serve was so that, so many others wouldn't be put in predicaments that I chose to put myself in. But 18 years is a long time, and you end up going through multiple combat deployments. As you said, as a corpsman on the front line, you see the worst of the worst, but then again, you see the best of people. Through combat, I lost way fewer Marines than I did with the battle coming home. At 18 years myself, I was medically retired for TBI and post-traumatic stress, to the point that I almost took my own life. Luckily, I'm still effing here. And through that, I went through so many different treatments for the PTSD and the TBI, because it had got me so to a point, literally, that the only somewhat comfort that I had was being back against the wall, examining everything that was going on in the room, and not living, just being a shell of a person, on top of the medication that I was being thrown out with the VA, and on top of not being able to function with my two young sons, to a point that, like I said, I came to a pistol in my hand and almost taking my own life. And later meeting the right people and finding what treatment worked for me allowed me to get control of my PTSD and TBI, because it doesn't truly 100% go away. Like I said, 7 combat deployments, those memories don't just go away. But I got the opportunity to get something called the Stellate Ganglion Block for PTSD, which is literally a shot in the neck, which the theory behind it puts to sleep the fight or flight mechanism, and when it wakes back up, it's not as agitated. So, over many years, I got no more than maybe 2 hours sleep at night. I slept for 18 hours after getting the shot. A few people were concerned that I might have been dead. And I woke up and I, for once, was finally somewhat in control of my PTSD, and it was not controlling me. And that was what worked for me. But what I encourage, and what Tyler as well will encourage, is if you're out there and you're dealing with anything mental health wise, trauma wise, or otherwise, there's an answer out there for you. And we want to be that sounding board. We want to give you the voice so that we can help you find that answer, because we want you to stay effing here.
And, 7 combat deployments. Man,
just a couple.
Yeah, you've seen some stuff. Now, when you were out there on the front lines, working with the Marine Corps and saving lives and treating Marines to get them back out into the fight, what did you learn when you were out there fighting these wars on terror?
Preparation is key. Being prepared, and the resilience that you see in your everyday Marines going forward makes you, as a doc, look forward to going to that next battle with them, because no matter what, that person to your left and right is going to have your back. It didn't work that way once you become a civilian. So the camaraderie that we have in the military, and the love, I can say the love-hate that we have for each other. If we could have that in America today, we would be in such stronger standards, if that makes sense.
Indeed. Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see that.
I doubt it, but it sounds good, right?
Yeah, no, it sounds good. And plus, the gun club that we belong to wouldn't be as special.
Absolutely.
Because it's a very small gun club, that we're all life members of. And I couldn't imagine having 340 million people in our gun club.
Yeah, I hear you.
Totally. Now, you had said that you wanted to join to kind of do the job that other people wouldn't do. Now, when you came in, you came in at what, 18 years old?
Well, Marine Corps, yes. I came into the Navy at 21 years old.
So still at 21 years old, you're coming in, and were you prepared for what you were getting ready to see, when it comes to war injuries, arms and legs and gunshot wounds, and,
not even a little bit, because which I came in open arms about it, because my goal was to go to school to become either a PA or a doctor. I ran out of money for college, and that's how I ended up going into the Navy. So I wanted that guarantee of doing medicine, because I wanted to help those that are helping fight for our freedom. And knowing the opportunity was there to be a corpsman with the Marines was a no-brainer, because when I first came in, you figure the war hadn't completely got started. I was actually in Corps school, in medical corpsman school, when 9/11 happened. So
it took a lot of mental toughness to take on what you saw out there. And would you say after each deployment that you got more hardened?
a little hardened. I tried to never allow myself, if I ever got to the point where I didn't care for humanity, where this was just a body that I was patching up, then I no longer need to be a corpsman. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of folks out there that, we're in this day in and day out, and unfortunately, it becomes just another day at the office. And 7 combat deployments, and again, everything being thrown at you in the fog of war. The sounds, the sights, the smells, the hurry, the slow down. You're out there trying to do everything you can, like you said, the fight or flight mode, and you have a lot of responsibility out there to not only help save lives, but to also save your own life out there. I mean, you are literally in the fight, and you are patching up Marines as they go. And unfortunately, it always doesn't end well when you are taking rounds down range, and you're the guy on the other end there trying to do everything that you can, again, to save the lives of Marines out there and whoever else that you may be encountering that might be on the same line as you. I want to bring in now Tyler Southern. Tyler, look, you are Lance Price's business partner now. You guys met 4 years ago, and I want to know what the odds of this are. You come across a devil doc 4 years ago, and you're a triple amputee. Is it meant to be, or what?
Absolutely. We got connected through a horrible, horrible person, actually, that we're lucky to not be in cahoots with anymore. But I'll always be grateful to him for introducing me to Lance. And we were talking about it before, but yeah, he was a shell of a dude. He was a guy I met at a bar that grunted and said, how you doing, a couple times to me. After that shot, though, it was off to the races. He was a whole different dude and has become one of my closest friends. And yes, we are 2/5 of the ownership of a clothing company now.
Now, SFH, that's still freaking here. And folks, if you can understand, the F does not stand for freaking.
It do not.
For show's sake, it's freaking, but it's still freaking here. Now, when you're a triple amputee, and when you're like Lance Price, who goes out there and serves 7 combat deployments, TBI, post-traumatic stress, and again, limbs falling off of your body, you deserve the title of still freaking here. How did you guys come up with this?
We basically, so COVID hit a lot of us harder, or not harder is not the right word. Sorry. Hard. Not harder than anyone else specifically. Sorry. That came out wrong. And we wanted everyone to know that everyone knew that everyone was struggling, because we're not specifically for veterans only. The 50% of our net proceeds that we donate to charity, we're going to eventually have a large stable of charities that we have vetted, Lance specifically vets very thoroughly, to ensure that all of that 50% is going to someone in their fight, be it a veteran in their PTSD and their demons, be abuse, addiction survivors, cancer survivors, and anyone who's proud of how far they've come or thinks that no one realizes how far they've come. We wanted them to know that someone gets it. So we always encourage people to get a jersey and become part of the team in the community. And we just don't want anyone to feel alone in their fight, basically, is what it was born of. Ooh, I do have one point of clarification from the introductions. I'm the first American triple amputee to survive Afghanistan. Mark Ormond, a Brit, beat me by 3 freaking years. But just not the very first triple.
Have you guys spoke?
Via the internet. We are aware of each other. And once or twice have communicated, but we've not met in real life, real D3D yet.
That's a title you don't want to have, but
hey,
you have it. You got to wear it proudly, right?
Yeah. I was like, I don't need to defend it or anything, but yeah, it's a weird one I never thought would be on my resume.
Marine, at least you have a sense of humor. Now show me what the little teapot is.
Well, I've done it for years, but it's currently a viral TikTok. It got up to, it's at like 30 million views. But yeah, I'm a little teapot. I'm short and stout. Y'all can't tell I don't got legs, but I'm only 3'10". And then I got my handle and I've got my spout. Dude. And I'm loud as hell. So when you hear me shout, I'll...
Incredible. Now, May 5th, 2010, everything changed. You are in Afghanistan and you survive a catastrophic IED blast that did indeed cost you both of your legs and your arm and hand. Despite these life-altering injuries, you were airlifted from the battlefield to Bethesda Naval Medical Center, and I think that's out in Maryland, right?
Yes, sir.
And you spent some time in a coma, and you woke up and you have been picking up the pieces literally ever since. Can you take me back to May 5th of 2010?
So I don't distinctly remember. My last memory is either the evening of the 4th or the 3rd. The last thing I distinctly remember was checking on my guys on post as the corporal of the guard at night. And it happened at 5:00 p.m. on the 5th. But we were given accurate intelligence that up to 6 high-level Taliban were held up in a compound that was 8 kilometers from our patrol base. The battalion commander already canked off vehicle patrols because we were losing too many trucks, and blamed the MEF commander. But either way, this would have happened either way. We were trying to take a compound. But yeah, so we get there. The squad leader takes one team to the front of the building. Team 3 stays behind to watch our butts. And then I take my team around the far side that no one could see at the time. And we all either missed the first one on the front corner or it did not go off properly, which is my way of thinking, because they would have been right behind me. And then turkey peeking the doorway, trying to snap in and surprise someone if they were waiting for me is what a turkey peek is for the layman's. But turkey peeking the doorway, I stepped on 10 pounds of homemade explosives, victim operated pressure plate IED, which I don't like because it's got the word victim in it. And I'm a victor of this game called life. But yes, immediate 3 gone and arm jacked to bits. And then they were on me in a second, IVs going, tourniquets going. I apparently stopped breathing a few times on the ground. It was 10 minutes blast to bird, one of the fastest I've ever heard of, because my squad leader called it in faster than a hiccup, and didn't have to repeat anything. At the time, we were having to do an 11 line. We were doing the 9 line with the 4. The missed report had to be on the ass end of it. So he called in 11 lines of information very quickly and got a bird rerouted to me that was en route for a convenience pickup, torn ligaments in an ankle, and got sent to me. If he'd have called it in any slower or had to repeat anything, that one wouldn't have made it. It'd have been 45 minutes. I'd have died in his arms. And then Bastion and Bagram, the 2 Afghanistan hospitals, I flatlined a bunch of times at both of those. My lungs collapsed a bunch of times. They had to end up doing a thoracotomy where they hacked open my chest plate and locked all the blood, clamped my aorta so that my heart and my brain were the only things having blood for a little while there. And then got to Germany and they decided I was absolutely going to die. So they stabilized me so that I could go home and die on American soil. They basically packed me up and shipped me to Bethesda so I could die on American soil. And I was like, if that was it, that's beautiful. And I appreciate them for doing that still to this day. But my family was poised to fly to Germany and spend time with me there. But yeah, I went home. It ended up being May 9th was when I finally got to Bethesda, which was Mother's Day that year. Mom had to watch her youngest and 3rd service member getting off the ambulance bus from Andrews. But they had 9 days to get used to what I looked like because I woke up from the medically induced coma on the 18th to my mother explaining to me what happened, which was, again, beautiful. It's not some random doctor. I'm already in a hospital when I think I'm in a foreign country, and looking at my mother in the face and her explaining, and 40 years of nursing prepared her for that hard conversation. And she ended up being my medical proxy and all that stuff. She was amazing. And she saved my life more than once in that instance. Obviously, she's my mother. She saved me a lot more than a couple times. But I'm eternally grateful for my mother and her work during all of that, and did 2.5 years rehabilitating and rebuilding my arm from the elbow down, and then retired in 2012. I worked for several charities along the way and just never wanted to leave people in the lurch. I was always big on peer visits and stuff like that. When I was at the hospital, go talk to the freshly broke dudes and help them figure out their new normal or show them that it'll be possible. I promise you. And I've kept that same mentality. I didn't want to leave anyone in the lurch. I didn't want anyone to feel alone. And so when I was approached by, at the time, a buddy about this SFH and all that, and we're going to tell everybody that they're not alone. And I'm like, let's fucking go. So yeah, it was a no-brainer, really. And you'll smile at everybody, right? You'll be the face. And I'm like, it's all I got left, brother. It's like all I got left is my big ass forehead and all my teeth.
Dude, that's incredible that you didn't lose a tooth.
Right? None of them. So that was the beauty of that specifically. It was directly straight down. And looking at my scars and how my body got, you can tell I stepped on it with my right foot because there's only a little bit of a skin graft and overall not mangled right leg. But you can tell the cone was like a this because my left leg was open all the way to the damn hip. And then right-handed on small target with my rifle, the inside of my left arm gets wrecked and the right is gone, city gone. And then, of course, the rifle broke my face. The ACOG, the sight unit on the rifle, broke my forehead. My right anterior sinus had to eventually be obliterated. Yeah. So I got my flak and my Kevlar back, the helmet, and the helmet has nothing wrong with it. That was not already wrong with it. Like it didn't make it to my head because my whole ass was in the way. Yeah.
So you served with 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines in Weapons Company, and you guys saw a lot of combat, when you were out there in Afghanistan. What have you ever had any other Marines contact you and talk to you about that day? I mean, because having your legs and your arm blown off, I mean, that's got to do a lot to a mental psyche of other Marines that are still there in the fight and seeing you in the position of near death and them thinking, probably knowing that you are KIA and they're but they got to continue to fight. What was mentally going through their heads after this explosion had happened to you?
So there's a lot of, there's several points. A dear friend of mine was leading the QRF squad, the Quick Reaction Force squad. Whenever something goes off, again, for the layman's, whenever something goes off, they send out backup, basically. A whole nother squad of Marines is coming to get to your back. But we're 8 kilometers out. And 10 minutes blast the bird. So they heard Echo 3 Sierra, triple amputee, break. And, freaking, he's missing 3. He's probably gone. They Echo 3 Sierra is, I was a Lance Corporal, Southern, but they knew it was me, just from the radio communications. And my buddy is a freaking nature. He can sprint for miles. I don't understand how his body works, but he did. He ran the whole, the squad didn't get there. He got there first by a lot. So there was guys who were something took over and they needed to get there. They needed to, do something to be helpful and serve and do whatever. But once we got me on the bird, my squad leader put my right hand, which the forearm was gone, but the hand was part of the equation still, apparently. He put it on my chest when they put me on the bird, because of his words. It was either I'll be good and goddamned if it's going to end up on someone's mantle. And I didn't know what science could do. And I was like, man, honestly, a hand's bolted to the end of this thing. I would figure out how to make it work. It would look stupid, but it would have its uses. And then they got online and just kind of went and took out every enemy for several kilometers. But what ended up happening with the boys and their mindsets was my rifle stayed in the command center where all the briefings take place as a reminder to stay focused, basically. And I loved that I was able to provide that type of staying motivation while I was still trying to recover in the hospital and stuff. Satellite, once I was with it, I called him a few times on the satellite phone. My brother was deployed to Afghanistan with the army at the time. A lot of stuff with that, but freaking when I got to go home for my 21st birthday, which I was going to celebrate in Afghanistan, there's a picture of me cheering on my parents' driveway to thousands of people who are singing me happy birthday. I'm wearing my uniform. I'm doing a woo. But that picture was the first picture my boys saw of me, all happy, loving life. And it hung in the COC for a long time, too. So it was a huge deal for me to help motivate and inspire still, like, and still be smiling, because I was still smiling. It wasn't a show or a facade. But I wanted them to know I had it, and it's fine. Handle y'all business. Don't worry about me one bit. I'll see y'all in October. And then I got to be there for the homecoming too, which was also spectacular.
You know, you're a bubbly, positive man of gratitude. Were you always this way, or is this the new Tyler after, your near-death experience? I mean, what were you like before the explosion? I see what you're like
Taller.
Post. You were taller and you had a few more body parts.
Yeah, I could count to 10 and 20 way easier.
There's a lot of folks out there that are in your position that they don't come out of the house. They self-isolate. They live, a very sad and lonely, depressing life. But you're about as bubbly and energetic as they get, and you're living a great life.
My life is awesome.
Explain, like, what's it like to have 3 body parts miss? I'm talking 2 legs and an arm. Okay. There's folks out there that lose a finger and it alters their life. But you've got 3 body part. I mean, full on. I mean, like, above the knee, above the elbow. I mean, what's everyday life like for you?
So first off, I was this. It's worse now. This is not the bubbly, energetic. I've been described more than once as a spontaneously combustible ball of energy, which is funny because, explosions, they do happen on my person, apparently more often than most. No, I like helping people. I like motivating people. I like inspiring people. I like fucking with people. And I've been given a lot of ammunition for the rest of my life to do that. Laughing about the finger thing, because when I watch TV shows and stuff, and like, oh no, the foot's gonna. I'm like, who gives a? It's just a foot. The prosthetic, if you just lose a foot, is so easy. It's just take the foot, man. Who cares? Like, I'm biased and jaded as hell on some of that stuff, because I'm like, oh, just snap it off, you bitch. But I was right-handed in real life. And again, my hand was pretty wrecked. And on May 5th, 2011, on the anniversary of, was when they finally fused my wrist. I had an external fixator and splints and all kinds of. At one point, my hand wasn't actually attached to my forearm, just by muscles and tendons. The bones weren't there. So if I took my splint off, my hand was literally just a floppy mess. So by the time my hand worked, it was a year and a half out. So it wasn't really right versus left, or like, oh no, this thing. I was like, sweet, how do I figure this out? Like, what all things can I do now? And it was just figuring out how to get dressed and figure out how to do this and wear your legs. And then the legs became not a thing once I retired. But I do hobbit or hermit up. I stay in my house a lot, but I also spend a lot of money making my house awesome. I'm also not good with heat and live in North Florida. So staying outside sometimes is not great because of the injuries. I run hotter than most because your blood has less room to go before it comes back and gets hot again. Less skin to sweat out of to cool off. Scar tissue doesn't breathe like skin does. So I'm hot all the time. I start sweating at 72. But yeah, it became the initial joy of it all was helping other people when they first got hurt. And that was my life's blood, and my family they were so nervous and worried because I was the youngest and the smallest and all this stuff. I was the runt by a lot. And now it's just, I'm way more the runt. But it was just, I didn't want my mom sad if I could help it. So a lot of it was practice at the beginning, just trying to make everyone around me feel as comfortable as humanly possible. And then I was like, oh, this is what I want to be. This is it. Like, and just, I stayed that the whole time. And there's days that suck. 4th of July, 2010 was a fucking nightmare. But, but other than that one, we're good.
Yes, sir. Now I'm going to bring Lance back in. We've got the trifecta here going on. These are 2/5, correct?
You got it.
Freaking here. And the guys behind the mics are the guys out in front of this war, if you will, in the veteran community. That 22 to 40 veterans a day are taking their lives. And we've got a devil doc here in Lance Price, and we have a triple amputee, former U.S. Marine, Tyler Southern here, who's also out on those lines that are helping encourage, inspire, and motivate so many veterans out there that are going through a lot of hard times in life and crisis. And, you know, your clothing line is out there to help so many of these other nonprofits, correct? Are you guys donate some money back to other organizations to ensure that, you know, every veteran out there is getting the help that they need?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And we pride ourselves on the fact that every nonprofit that we partner with is vetted and making sure that the inputs and outputs are actually going to where that nonprofit said it was. As Ty had mentioned, he's worked with a couple of nonprofits. I've worked with a couple of nonprofits, and they're just not all doing what they say they're doing. And this gives us an opportunity. It's saturated with nonprofits out there for different reasons and all that kind of stuff. So why don't we have a company that vets those nonprofits, and you can come to us and say, hey, what's a good nonprofit that I can pair with that you know where that money's going? And that's what we like to do, and that's what we pride ourselves in. Got the opportunity to do co-branding and multiple other things, which we can get into if you like.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say we hope to eventually be a hub where you can be like, oh, they're SFH approved. Yeah, support them. Like, we like that. That is the dream. Right. One of the other owners dreams of our EKG line being as famous as the Nike swoosh one day. And we hope to eventually be, you know, a voice of reason, basically, for people who are looking for something to support. Be like, oh shit, they approve of it. Hell yeah, let's do that. That's the goal.
You know, I mean, you know, what you guys are doing, you know, is, you know, extremely honorable. You don't have to give back to all these veteran organizations. You know, you guys deserve to earn a paycheck as well. You know, as
not a dime.
Right?
Not a dime yet. Not a dime.
I'm just saying.
But yes,
this
I hear
is still new. You know,
yes,
and
absolutely.
you know, when so many veteran, you know, businesses out there, the first thing that they think of is helping other veterans. You know, a lot of the good ones that you said, you know, that are completely vetted, that are in it for the right reasons. Because look, we can't depend on our federal government to fix and heal veterans. The folks out there on the front lines, like us three, and so many other great veterans out there, and even veteran supporters, are in this for the right reasons. Because we are the ones that are on the front lines of saving the lives of our American veterans. Because if we don't, who will? You know, like you guys were saying earlier, there are other experimental type drugs that a lot of veterans are taking right now that will help wean them off of strong opioids and pharmaceuticals that the VA pumps into our nation's veterans. You know, like you had this special
Stellate Ganglion Block.
Yeah, and I had never even heard of that before, but and you got that. You got that from nonprofits that that ponied up the cash to help you. So it's kind of like this big circle of giving here. And I think that's truly remarkable.
But here's the question to you. I mean, how sad is that? You've never heard of it. And you've worked with how many veterans at this point?
Constantly.
And how many times have you walked into a VA and asked them about better resources for PTSD and these and that? But it's just wild. But this thing has been around for a very long time. It was actually discovered by a Navy SEAL doctor, Dr. Molinoff, I think is how you say it. And he was actually giving a shot to a Navy SEAL in the neck for neck pain, and come to find out it helped with his PTSD. And he did research on it, and come to find out one shot has an 80% success rate. So, I mean,
sorry.
I mean, 80% is better than 0% last time I checked.
Well, and of the 5 people we know personally that got it, only one didn't see amazing results. Yes, and in the shot's defense, he didn't do what he's supposed to do after the fact. You're supposed to get the shot and hibernate. You're supposed to go away and scare all your friends for 18 hours. Me and Brian were blowing up his wife. Just, yo, did you do the mirror thing? He's breathing, right? Like we were very nervous for a day and a half. And when he finally messaged us, but yeah, our other buddy, he immediately got it and then went and did not a bender, but didn't go to sleep for another day. And I'm like, you can't really blame the shot for that one, brother. You 100% didn't do what they say you're supposed to do.
Yeah, if you're going to take one to the neck, I'm going to be following the protocols on that because I don't want to have to do it again.
Yeah.
So the process. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, the beauty of it is, you said it was just shot of lidocaine, right?
Correct.
Everyone's
so
like,
the
oh my
process,
God, what are they putting? It's all kinds of stuff, right? Chemicals, crazy stuff. And I'm like, no, it's a shot of lidocaine. They put it in the right nerve bundle.
Yep. Yeah, it's the same thing that
it's a nerve block. All it is a nerve block. That's what it is.
And I've had plenty of those, for my spine related injuries, and neck all the way down, and they aren't very comfortable. So again, when you're getting something to the neck, I want to be listening to the directions here, so I don't got to keep doing it over and over and over again. But it probably sounds like a Marine, right? Went out and went to the freaking bar. What? Oh man. Hey, that's why we eat crayons, right?
Yeah. And if there's veterans out there that are looking for a nonprofit that provides this treatment, For the Love of a Veteran is a great organization to reach out to.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. For the Love of a Veteran is the whole charity name. And they're one of the ones. Go ahead.
Yeah. Christine she's a bulldog. She will make sure that she gets them in and gets them treated properly. My heart goes out to that lady. She's a saint.
Well, there you go. Christine, For the Love of a Veteran, is there to help our nation's veterans that are in need, that could be going through crisis mode or just some really bad times, down on their luck. And no veteran deserves to live like that. There are plenty of organizations out there that can ensure that no veteran needs to live a life of despair. But unfortunately, that's what the whole mental health issue is. There's so many veterans out there that do not want to get the help that they need. So it is podcasts like this where a lot of veterans will be in their rooms and they don't want to come out, but then they'll watch a podcast like this and they'll hear you guys speaking on, look, there is life after trauma.
Just because you get stuck in that dark hole and you've been stuck in that dark hole for who knows, whether it's months or years, there is a shimmering light out there. Find your shimmering light, because that's our goal, is to give everyone the opportunity to find their voice and to find their light. Because once you find your light, you're going to be a good person and you're going to make positive changes in your life and in the society around you.
Mm-hmm. And to the veterans doing that, to the veterans who are, I can't tell anyone this sucks because I'll be weak or whatever it is. I'm calling you a bitch to your face right now. We were taught, trained, drilled into our souls, adapt and overcome. And you trusted me to have your back. When I'm the guy to your right and your left, you trusted me to make sure that sector of fire was covered. You don't trust me here in America where we're chilling to help you? You're out of your freaking mind. And I'm telling you right now, reach out, get the help that you need, that you deserve, that you have earned, because God, for the people who went when the wolves were at the door, deserve to live and thrive and enjoy their life. And there is support out there for you. Like he said, not everything works for everybody. The shot might not work for you. Group therapy might work for you. This, find the things. If you were sitting alone in a foxhole with ammo and a radio, you would not empty your clips first. You'd call for backup. You'd get QRF en route, and then you'd start firing rounds. Get help, call for help, reach out. Sorry.
Don't be.
No, Ty, look, you're a beacon of hope to so many folks out there, not just veterans. I mean, you're a beacon of hope to anybody with a heartbeat. Right. And there's a ton of civilians in this walk in life that go through life struggles every single day. And the amount of trauma that is out there that we all see on a daily basis, not just in this country, but around the world, is something that, everybody adapts to it in different ways. And when you lose 2 legs and an arm and you have to have your other hand glued back on, and I mean, you have lived an insane life, and life after your struggle has not been easy. But dude, here you are. You're still freaking here, and you're doing the hard work to save the lives of Americans veterans with your buddy Lance. Yeah, and really, I mean, dude, do a lot of veterans reach out to you and that just want to talk and say, hey, look, I'm going through some hard times. And if anybody would understand what I'm going through right now, Ty, it would be you, just because you don't have legs, you don't have an arm, you got blown up by an IED, you did everything that you can possibly for this country. And I want to talk to you. I have combat related injuries as well. And can I have 10 minutes of your time? Yeah, because I'm going through some difficulties or some hardships or some challenges. Do you get those folks that reach out to you?
I beg people too. So it'd be real shit if I ignored them when they tried.
One of the processes, yeah.
People try not to complain to me about stuff, because what will he care if I'm going through this and this? And I'm gonna tell all y'all, if you listen to that part the rant I did a second ago, listen to this too. It is not in any way a competition. I'm not over here. What do you know about pain and discomfort? What do you know about life kicking you in the nuts? Like, that's not, I don't have that bravado.
We don't roll that way.
Yeah. I would say I'm gonna roll in and I'm gonna try to disarm you, because that's what they did to me. No, no, I want your guard down. I want you to talk to me. I want you to tell me, because like you said, I'll get it. Like, and if I don't get it, I'm going to care still. I'm going to try to be empathetic if I can, whatever it is. But every individual person has gone through or is dealing with something that I have nil experience with. Like, yeah, sorry, you've got both your arms. That doesn't mean that your divorce don't suck, or all your boys not calling you from service don't suck. Like, that shit sucks. And I know that well. So why would I not be the one? I got lots of suck. Like, my resume is full of it. I would say, so I'm uniquely qualified to help in this situation. Not
so as long as Ty says, as long as he's here, he's going to motivate. He's not going to freak. He doesn't want to see somebody's frown. He wants them smiling. You've seen ear to ear if possible. Yeah, I mean, you're seeing it. This is him. This isn't an act. That's just, it gets overwhelming.
How long did it take you, Tyler, to get to where you're at right now with this bubbly life of gratitude, with the energetic, type motivation that you're displaying to the world right now?
I will say, if I'm, it makes it sound like a weird superpower, but I woke up from the coma this way. So I'm gonna say 2 weeks. Because my mom explaining it to me, God damn, it's doing it finally. At the end, I guess. Sorry, my mic keeps dropping volume. My mother explaining it to me from the get-go went, hey, before you look down, you were in an accident. Your legs are gone, your right arm is gone, and your left is pretty banged up. And I looked down and said, it sucks. And there was a stack of movies behind her. I asked her what movie we were watching. And okay. And then everything became, okay, when can I get off these drugs? Or when can these staples come out? When does the chest tube come out? When can I start going to therapy? When do the legs start happening? So it just, where do we start? And it was saline bags so my hips don't get displaced. And then it was learn how to sit up in the bed because I got down to 98 pounds from 185. And legs don't weigh shit. That was all. I just got skinny. You could have drowned yourselves in my clavicle. But there was one really dark day and everyone was always worried that my joviality isn't a real word, was a mask and I skipped the dealing with it stuff. And I was like, no, I think I did it rapido. Because the 4th of July, 2010, I had a panic attack. I had surgery. They told me after the surgery, I couldn't go outside and watch the fireworks. So that day I decided that independence was never going to be mine ever again. And then I'd call it 12 hours later. I washed my hand of that bullshit and carried on with being me. Because ugh. It makes me sad to think about. But then now
what's the age gap between you guys?
He is 642 and I am 36 almost.
No, it's funny. 10 years.
10 years. And are you guys basically like best friends?
Not basically.
Point, no, there's no basic to it.
Yeah.
We probably finish each other's sentences at this point. Yeah.
Each other's sandwiches.
So, I mean, again, this is a friendship made in heaven. I mean, brother. Really, if you think about it, definitely. It's a brother. But I couldn't, dude, it's like God couldn't have picked a better friend. I mean, this guy's a devil doc that has 7 combat tours who's seen a lot of things that you are displaying every single day. So do you ever have those days where you're like, I got to call Doc because I'm feeling this way or whatever? Or Doc, do you ever look at Ty and say, man, I remember those moments and now I live with it every day. My best friend is an amputee and I saw this on the battlefield all the time. I mean, like, what's that like?
Here's where you're gonna truly see the uniqueness between myself and Ty. Ty never really hugely got stricken by the mental aspect of trauma when it came to combat.
You were more concerned with what movie you were getting ready to watch in the hospital with your mom after she had just said, and just to let you know, you don't have legs, you don't have an arm, and your other arm is really banged up.
Yeah, you fucked up like a football bat.
How do you mentally prepare yourself to look in the mirror?
Man, no, so that was a funny thing too, is my mom being my mom is one of the things that there's two things, not a handful, 2 things that it's funny. 2 would be a handful for my silly hand. So that I love
the freaking dark military humor here. I freaking absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Well, if you notice, a lot of times we'll say we roll up into somewhere or whatever. Tyler has this badass chair that is basically a Segway that's made to move with his hips. And freaking, it goes 12 to 13 miles per hour. Yeah. So
isn't it on tracks too?
No, I have a tracked wheelchair as well.
Yeah, I've seen that one on your website when you're just chilling at the beach.
Mm-hmm. And then the Segway wheelchair is just intense. It's smaller, lighter, faster than all the other kinds of chairs I've ever been in, and the most at home I've ever felt in a wheelchair. But you asked me a question. I want to answer your question. What did you say?
I'm sorry.
What was the exact question? So I lost my train of thought.
What was
so
the
hard.
mirror? You know, how do you mentally prepare yourself to wake up from what you did and say, okay, I'm gonna look, I'm gonna open my eyes and then do that, and then look at yourself in the mirror for the first time. What goes through a man's head that has had his arms or one arm, two legs, and a quarter of another, of another arm?
Yeah. Technically, I'm a quadruple amputee on paper because how much the limb salvage took place, this barely counts as a limb as far as like paperwork goes. But my mom refused to let them take pictures of me because she didn't think I'd want to see me like that. And that is one of the few things that I'm like, Mother, you know me for 20 years. On what planet does that make sense? I want to know where I started. In a couple of years, I'm going to want to see where it all began. Like, fuck, come on. And then doctors gave me, like, I have pictures from the table. Like, I have surgery pictures. So that's all squared away now. But the mirror specifically, I was excited to figure it out. Looking down is one thing, but what do we got? What's going on? And it was funny, though. My weight was more of a thing than the limbs. Because, I was always a small dude. I was always very skinny, with a runner's kind of body. I was a gymnast in real life. And then I was a tiny little frail thing. And that was mostly what it was. I was like, ooh, let's figure out food and protein. I was never a huge gym guy, but I didn't like being 98 pounds and looking so sick. I was like, I already got the stuff going on. Let's let the center part look healthy, please. So ultimately, the mirror created goals more than problems. So it was more or less like, ew, that's not good. Let's figure out what a push-up is or how to do flies or something like.
So do you train every day? Weight train?
Almost every day, yeah.
When you look in the mirror now, do you like what you see? Are you extremely confident in the way you look?
My confidence has almost never been an issue with me. Well, because false motivation is actual motivation. So if you're not confident, put on that. Not cocky now. We're not playing cocky. We're not being Chad, Brad, Thad. My dad will sue your dad. But confidence. You put it on sometimes when you're not wearing it. And sometimes when I leave the house, I don't want to. So I'll put on a show for people because my baseline is the happy-go-lucky guy that smiles at you in the grocery store. But sometimes I don't want it, but I still will. Because you don't have the confidence. You got to pick it up. But now I recently have dropped some more weight. I got sloppy for a little bit there. I'm in the best shape I've been in my entire life. And that's pre-blast too. I'm physically much stronger than I was when I was 20.
And you're 38 right now?
I'll be turning 36 in August.
Oh, 36. So for 16 years, you have lived this way. And I know, look, you probably draw a really big crowd when you go out. Do people, what's it like when people come up to you? What do they ask you, or do they not ask you anything, or do they just want to turn the other way? Like when kids are walking and they see you, and are they afraid of what they see? Explain to me what happens when you go out in town.
It is a spectrum of things. Children are big starers and trying to figure out what's going on, and a lot of precociousness and whatnot with their mommy. What's going on? Like, he ain't got no arm. Explain that. And the parents are usually terrified and think they've offended me and will usher their kid away and, teach their kid that I'm a monster that they need to avoid and never talk to. I encourage children. So with kids specifically, it is, I catch them staring, and the line is, I have answers if you have questions, kid. So just no pressure, not, hey, ask me something. Or the parents who are like, talk to him, go ahead. It's just, hey, I'll talk to you if you want to talk, is what I've landed on. And kids are hilarious because they don't realize it all happened in the same situation. It's what's going on with your arm. And I was like, I didn't eat my vegetables and it fell off. And they're like, so what's going on with this hand? And I'm like, I used to bite my fingernails and it got infected. And so, okay, now explain these legs, sir. And I'm like, I did not listen to my parents when I was a kid. And when they confiscated them, when I became a good kid, they forgot where they put them. And then when they leave, it is eat your vegetables, don't bite your fingernails, listen to your parents. And I've had a couple moms along the way be like, that's not what happened. And I'm like, I've got pictures, lady. How graphic do you want me to get with your 8-year-old?
Yeah, that's Ty's. And sometimes he'll say, do you want the real version or the PG version? Because that's the PG version.
I'll tell them bombs. I'll tell them bombs and shit.
Yeah.
But I've also been thanked by parents galore over the 15 years now. Because I've watched kids at restaurants stomp vegetables and apparently never ate them before. And I'm just like, brightening days and changing lives. Let's go.
They're definitely not going to leave the peas on their plate anymore. I can tell you that.
And then adults, it varies. A lot of people just assume I'm a veteran because of both the tattoos, how I carry myself, and things like that. And usually the hair is nothing on the sides. Oh, were you in the service? Yeah. Oh my God, thank you so much. It's gratitude's the main one. And then the gratitude comes in from different slants. You do not answer any questions an old white lady asks you in a bar. That is one of the firm rules. I wear black as a rule, and they tend to cry when you explain to them with a smile on your face that you got blown to smithereens 2 months into your second deployment. And they will then cry on my shoulder. And I'm like, you've got people crying on their shoulders. I'm good. And more than once, I've had an entire face of makeup on my sweet black shirt when we leave a bar. And I'm just like, I got to turn this shit inside out because you can't control your avatar. But yeah, so it mostly gratitude. I've been called a baby killer on the internet.
Wow, that's impressive.
Which was funny, but it was children who know nothing about anything. And I don't give a shit about all that. People who in their heart of hearts believe that I and mine rounded up millions of children and civilians and murdered them. And I'm like, and my only thing, I'm like, hey, I want you to look up the amount of casualties and injuries, civilian and otherwise, from Iraq and Afghanistan, and tell me what that number is.
Right.
Because I'll tell you, it's almost 111,000. And that is not a great number, but that's also 20 years and 2 wars. Yeah, millions ain't it. Sorry.
Lance.
Yes.
Afghanistan, Iraq, 7 combat tours. Ty, 2 tours for you.
Almost, but one and some change.
1 in 2 weeks, but it
2 months.
You gave your legs and your arm for this country. Right. You both have given so much service and sacrifice to this country. And I want to know, during the botched Afghanistan withdrawal, what went through your guys' heads when you saw a C-17 rolling down the tarmac with Afghanis hanging on it, and how we cut and run? And the United States, the military, these colors don't run. Mm-hmm. We cut and ran because I believe of a administration that was not looking out for the best interest of America. What went through your head when you saw this botched Afghanistan withdrawal after everything that you guys have been through and given to this country?
Well, I mean, with a lot of it was like, well, what the fuck was the point? Was one of the reactions. Another reaction was, okay, now we're just going to leave all of our shit there for them to utilize for further war and conquest, I guess you would say. It's literally a slap in the face for anyone who's served over or who's served any time, I'd say, from 91 forward. So, Ty, what do you think?
I got asked that a lot when it first happened because of the amount of skin I had in the game. Yes, it's embarrassing when that happens and you have to say we, which sucks because you'd like to say someone did that and not take responsibility. But at the same time, the president is my president, whichever one that is. So we did a very bad job with that for sure. There's no qualms about that. And 13 people paid dearly for it. My thoughts were with the families of the fallen with it. I didn't care because I didn't care about my injuries about it. I wasn't like, oh, this happened for nothing, X, Y, and Z. Specifically, that didn't hit me like that. I was worried that families of the fallen would feel that their child or loved one bid it for nothing. And that broke my heart into a million little pieces. That is the first time I ever cried on the internet. I did a video expressing the absolute fervent belief that even though the end didn't go right, their lives meant everything still, because everything was protect the man to your left and your right. And in giving their life, in giving their last full measure of devotion to their country, they helped, they protected, they served. And that service will 1,000% always be there, always be valid. And I was terrified that those families would think that their person
the bonds that we made, not only with the true Afghan people and everything, it was just I feel like we were going about and sharing our knowledge and getting the military built up in a sensible way. But the fact is the people in politics wanted us out faster. So they just slammed the door instead of allowing us to do what we even had the opportunity to do in Iraq by building the Iraqi army and the Iraqi forces in the ways that we did. That opportunity. The infrastructure was started, but it wasn't able to finish because they were like, okay, nope, it's too long. We're just going to pull everything out and leave everything here and let them figure it out. But okay, who does that make us? Doesn't that make us just as bad as them by just letting them figure it out, by not helping them, finishing the help that we said we were going to provide?
Right. Yeah, so leaving Terps and stuff behind was it the movie Covenant? That entire thing is also that's a black mark on the record for sure. We promised these people, and they went against people who are technically their countrymen,
knowing they couldn't go back home. They couldn't go back home.
Because now the bad guy that they just were ratting on for decades, not only knows probably that it was them, but they have a lot more ways to hurt you about it.
Yeah.
Now, like, so that again, that embarrassment is what ends up happening. It's not a, oh no, my limbs didn't mean anything. It ends up just the fact that we promised people who served shoulder to shoulder with us that we would take care of them. And we did not.
Yeah. Yes, those SIVs were done terribly wrong, and if they are still even alive in Afghanistan, I would be surprised. And if you don't think that other countries out there that have watched this, we're not done with wars. Wars are profitable, unfortunately, and it's good business. And the next time we find ourselves,
just like the cure for cancer.
Yeah,
I was saying, the people making the money aren't the ones going or sending their sons.
Exactly. And the next time, I mean, just imagine how many of these SIV folks that were the interpreters and were feeding intel to all the military folks, boots on the ground. I mean, just imagine how many lives that they saved. And we did not honor that promise. And when the United States of America doesn't honor a promise on an international stage, do you think that people are going to be running to sign up to be the next, folks that are promised a special immigrant visa to come to the United States and not live in fear for the rest of their life? Absolutely not. And we got some stuff heating up right now in Iran.
Yes.
And, with all the proxies out there, I mean, look, this could get sideways really quick. And then we could be sending another generation of war fighters to the Middle East. And it is wash, rinse, repeat. And it doesn't need to be that way. It really doesn't need to be that way. But we have to protect our country. We have to help protect other countries that are at risk of being wiped off the map. And, that's the responsibility of the strongest country in the world and the strongest military in the world. And it's all about military readiness, and it's about protecting the vulnerable. And that's why we are who we are. And you say, yes, bad things happen, but we are here for one fight and for one goal and for one mission. And that is a free United States of America. And we have a constitution for a reason. And, if it wasn't for our war fighters to go out there and risk everything, we wouldn't have a country. And people need to remember that freedom is not free. And I don't care how you want to unwrap it, but there has been 250 years of blood, sweat, and sacrifice that have been left on the battlefield and beyond. And if you don't think that we're still taking casualties from all these wars that we've been fighting for so many generations, you're wrong, because these folks are at home and they're taking their own lives because they feel that they are alone and that they have been forgotten, folks, and they are only gone if they are forgotten. This is why we are supporting these folks today. Still freaking here. Where can people get your guys' merchandise and gear, and how can people support you?
Absolutely. There's a few opportunities, ways that people can support us. If you have a business and you like the designs that we have, that you can find at wearesfh.com, and would like to partner with us. And what we do is we take one of our designs or make a new design with our signature SFH green somewhere in it, and take your design and make kind of like Tyler likes to say, a baby. And that's the co-brand, and you get your portion of the shirt, and we get a portion of the shirt, but our name's on the shirt. So it's just another way of getting our name out there and your name out there. Co-brands can be found on our website as well to see some of the previous co-brands that we've made. If you're in the Central Florida area, I would definitely check in mid-October, October 17th. We are having a music, our first music event for SFH, and we're going to have our first golf event the following day on October 18th in Winter Garden, Florida. And the music events in Apopka, Florida, which are both located in Central Florida.
And we're still looking for sponsors.
And we are still looking for sponsors for those events. Did I miss anything there, Ty?
We sponsored and put on a podcast for mental health. SFH presents the One More podcast. Zach Polk and I interview survivors and warriors of every type of fight and try to put a method to the madness, basically. And ultimately, hopefully, someone hears it and realizes they're not alone. That's the main thing. One more. We're gonna save one more, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because if you save a life, you've saved a world. Like, it doesn't have to be the whole world. If you save one, if one person hears you, you've saved a world.
It's like planting a seed. It's like planting a seed. I mean, you've got to plant that seed somewhere. Mm-hmm. If you help that one person's positivity could help, who knows, one or more people.
Ripples.
But no matter, the ripple effect, but no matter what you're going through, whether it's cancer, whether you're having suicidal ideations due to trauma or mental health, we want to know that you're not alone, that your voice needs to be heard, and that you need to find treatment. And we are SFH, and we are glad to be here, and we want you to stay freaking here. So that's all there is to it.
The last caveat would be all of our social medias are We Are SFH, WEARE SFH, and you'll find our TikTok or Instagram or any of that stuff.
Outstanding. I'm going to finish with this. It now more than ever, it is so important that we heal our nation's veterans, because at 22 to 40 a day taking their lives is an epidemic. And if we continue down this horrifying path, every single time a veteran takes their own life, our country sinks lower and lower and lower. That patriotism is sinking, because who are the most patriotic folks in the country? Veterans. And, and every single time a veteran removes themselves from this walk in life in the United States of America, the patriotism, it just starts to dwindle all the way down. And so it's important to teach our nation's children and the next generations that are coming up to be patriotic, and to support the military and to support our veterans and to support your country. Be proud to be an American. It's okay to love your country. And, that's what I say, so there's so much here that can be done when you're saving the life of just one veteran, because that right there is everything to not only that veteran, but everybody that loves that veteran, everybody that's surrounded by that veteran, all the way to the country that they serve. So guys, Lance Price, Ty Southern, I sincerely appreciate you guys coming on the show today. It was great. I had a really good time with you guys, getting to know you. And I wish you guys both the best of luck in this endeavor that you guys have taken on now, being best friends now for almost 4 years, and in running SFH. Folks, if you want to co-brand or partner with a great company out there that's been completely vetted, that's out doing the hard work, go to wearesfh.com. It is wearesfh.com.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This is the Today with Tally podcast.